Hello, everyone. Welcome to another installment of Erin's Book Club. I have a little bit of news and a book review to do. So, the first we'll do is the little bit of news. Sorry about that. So, I watch a lot of other people's book reviews and that kind of thing. And on one of them, I think Matt was his name. He has a literary degree and does some slow traveling. He introduced me to a website called Storygraph, which is the answer to Goodreads. So I had a look and absolutely fell in love with it. I had been trying to get out of Goodreads or find something similar to Goodreads ever since I found out that Amazon owned it, because if Amazon owned it, it should have been a hell of a lot better than what it is now. The website should have been much better put together than what it is. And B, Amazon has just really disappointed me in their customer service. So I try to get out of anything Amazon and go elsewhere. So that being said, I switched over to Storygraph. And the best thing about that is I canceled my reading challenge for the year because I thought, well, what's the point? And I found it really felt like a load being taken off of me when I didn't have to worry about a certain amount of books that I read every year. So that being said, and with how I feel now, I may not do reading challenges on a yearly basis because I don't like the pressure that I put on myself to get things done. There is a reading challenge in Storygraph. What I like about it, though, is there's a page reading challenge and a book reading challenge. So I might look into that. I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but I have definitely switched to Storygraph because it's just so much better. So much better. That being said, I'm still reading books, I'm still enjoying books, and I'm still reviewing books. So the book that I would like to review today is called Little Bird of Heaven by Joyce Carol Oates. And nowhere in this book is any kind of description as to what this book is about. And I have not heard of Joyce Carol Oates. I have not heard of Gravedigger's Daughter, which is another book she read. So I went into this completely blind. And even the cover on the book, if you can see here, it's basically a photo of a nondescript house with a bird on it, or on a wire. So it really doesn't tell you anything about what it is. And I'm kind of glad I went into it that way because, wow, what a read. And it was so well written and so well put together. Ishii, you're not saying hi to the people out there. Oh, now we're going to cough. He has asthma. That's an asthma attack that you're hearing. I don't know if you can see it. That there is a cat having an asthma attack. It will settle. He'll calm down. What you know, right? Anyway, so this book is... I don't even know how to describe it. It is, I think, going to be one of my new favorite books, right up there with the Book of Negroes that I read. It is difficult to read. It is stressful to read. It is tense. There are multiple characters, and I don't think I can say that I liked any of them. Even the one that I thought was morally better than most, in the end, her decisions and her way of living life really turned me off of her as a character. It was an in-depth look on what hate can do and what humans do to justify their actions, and what victim shaming is, what racism is, and how the concept of that influences what people are saying and doing, and in society, how judgment of how a person is dictates how that person is spoken to. And I'm not trying to give a lot away because I do think that this book needs to be definitely read, but there is a victim in this book who I will be the first to say is absolutely flawed and has a lot of real issues that have impacted the life around her and impacted her offspring. But she was treated in such a way that I got sympathy for her. I felt for her. But at the same time, as I learned more about her, and not just more about her as what everybody else was saying about her, but what was actually said about her in the story, my sympathy changed for her. And I think that's the whole point of the story. When you first are introduced to this person and the thing that happens, and you're devastated, and then you're disgusted with how people are dealing about it or dealing with it. But at the same time, you find yourself doing the same thing as you read on and find out more about the victim, and then you start blaming the victim, which is awful and shouldn't be happening. But guess what? It's happening, and you don't even know you're doing it. Such a well-written book, and when I read the end at first, I was like, what a horrible, horrible ending. Like, it's not even realistic. But then you think about it, and actually it really is, with the way things happen. And I honestly, I don't know how I feel about it. I just finished the book. I'm going to need to veg for a little bit. But I know I loved the writing. I know I loved the story. I know I loved the deep dive into the worst that people have to offer and the worst situations that people can get into and what people do when they're raised in that situation. There was very little good in this book, people-wise. There was very little hope in this book, people-wise. And it made you uncomfortable. Like, when you first started reading, you almost thought that there would be, like, pedophilia in this book, because the juxtaposition from the writing is always like this noir film type thing, but then right beside that would be a harsh sexual type of scene. And you couldn't stay in one way for more than a few paragraphs or a few chapters, and then everything would be turned upside down and you had to look at it a different way. Like, it just... Yeah, it's like a book I haven't read yet this year, and this will probably be my first, like, 5-star book of the year, because I'm going to be thinking of this book for quite a long time and analyzing this book for quite a long time, and I've been so thirsty for that kind of book this year, and everything I've read so far has let me down in that department. But at the same time, it is totally filled up that department, and it's gone a step above, and now I really have to think about what I feel. But I am going to recommend it. All in all, I think it's a good read. I think everybody should probably read Little Bird of Heaven. However, there are difficult aspects of it. There are abuse issues. There are murder issues. Like, it's not a good read if you're a sensitive soul. It's not a good read if you get offended easily. It's not a good read if you're not willing to put your put how you were raised and your privilege aside to see how these people have to deal with stuff and in an open mind. That probably wouldn't be a good read if you weren't willing to do that. But all in all, really enjoy the book. And yeah, I think I'm going to find more of her stuff. But thank you very much, and I will let you know when I have another book read. Thank you.